Welcome to my PowerPoint. Today we're talking about legendary jokers in Balatro. How do you unlock the legendary jokers? You get them from the soul spectral card. This is how you unlock them, and once you get them from the soul card for the first time, they can then be bought in your shop. Similarly to Judgment, you have to have room to use it, but it's not very difficult to use. And when you do, you get 5 options. Let's start with Chico, Chicot, however you want to pronounce it. He's by far the simplest of all of the jokers. He just turns off the boss blind. That's what he does. And, you know, in a lot of builds, that doesn't do anything. But there are a lot of builds where it can. Say you're playing... I don't know. You're trying to play a low discard build, like where you either don't discard at all, or you have no discards, and then you go to... oh gosh, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. The one where it's you can only... like the needle. Sorry, the needle, where you can only play one hand. Well, you're screwed, right? Because you can only play one hand, and you can't really cycle through your deck like you would and how your deck's probably built. So what that means is Chico can turn it off. And so can cards like Luchador, or jokers like Luchador, which can turn it off. Or if you get the Director's Cut voucher, which can turn it off for $10. I mean, $20, right, including the voucher. But yeah, so contextually, Chico is fine in a lot of scenarios, right? If you don't need an extra joker, if you don't have the voucher, or even if you just, like, I don't know, have sell value, like you have Swashbuckler or something, Chico can be fine. It's still probably the worst of the legendary jokers, though. We do have to talk about context a lot when we talk about jokers with Balatro and opportunity cost. And the opportunity cost of Chico is that you don't have a different legendary joker, or you don't necessarily you don't have any other extra joker, because he does absolutely nothing for money. He does absolutely nothing for scaling. He does absolutely nothing for, like, generation of tarot or planets. And he does absolutely nothing for molt. He just makes some boss blinds easier that you just can't do for certain decks. And you know what? That's good enough sometimes. So, there's Chico. Then we get to talk about Perkeo. Perkeo creates a negative copy of a consumable you hold when blind is selected. So, typically what people will do is they will, get, like, cryptids, right? The spectral card, and then that's how you can get the high score with Perkeo, right? You get cryptids, you keep getting more and more and more of them, you go Baron, and get a bunch of kings, and then you have a giant handful of kings because of all the cryptids that you generated through the game, etc. That's not realistic for what most people are going to be getting out of Perkeo. Typically, out of Perkeo, you want to put something like the Hermit, right? Because you can get a lot of money that way. You want to put a planet, so you can get a lot of planets. Observatory plus Perkeo is amazing, right? Because you can just generate more and more and more planets, and Observatory gives you 0.5 molt per planet, which is a lot and can add up a lot. Perkeo lets you do a lot of things, but he takes a lot of setup, right? So, again, when we're talking about a game that has a lot of opportunity cost and context to, like, how cards are being useful, Perkeo needs a lot of setup. He's not the greatest to just take without anything, especially Observatory. Or if you don't even have, like, a good tarot or a good planet to copy, or a spectral card to copy. So, you do have to be careful about that. But overall, I mean, Perkeo's pretty fun. He's very fun to play with. I can't say that for sure. Perkeo is incredibly fun to play with. But you do have to be careful when using it, because it's just probably the hardest one to use overall, I do have to say. Then we have Yorick. I really think that I'm not saying anything controversial when I say Yorick is probably the best of the legendary jokers. He's almost exclusively the easiest to use. What he does is, for every 23 cards you discard, you gain ×1 molt, starting at ×1 molt. So after you discard a total of 23 cards, which takes it's going to take you about 5 hands, or 5 full discards, 5 cards per discard, right? 23. So then he will go to ×2 molt, and then ×3, and then 4, and etc. And that's really not hard. Discarding cards is not hard unless you have, like, a burglar, right? Where it makes it so you have 0 discards. So Yorick just gains a lot of value relatively quickly, and he scales incredibly with getting more discards. He's pretty good. There's the I'm so bad at naming the bosses. There's a boss that discards 2 cards when you play a hand. That counts for Yorick. So yeah, I mean, he's just simple. He's simple and strong. And again, like I've been talking about opportunity cost. It's the thing. His opportunity is super low risk, super low investment for a really good payoff, for a strong payoff. Like if you see Yorick in the shop, you're gonna pick him up. If you get him from a soul card, you're pretty happy. He's just good. There's nothing else to say. Then there is Canio. Canio is also very strong. It does require a good amount of setup, and a lot of investment compared to Yorick, but he's pretty good. Of course, what he does is every time a face card is destroyed, you gain ×1 molt, right? So if you have cards like Pareidolia, Jokers like Pareidolia, I always say cards. Jokers like Pareidolia, then he will turn every card into a face card because of Pareidolia. Every card you destroy counts as molt for Canio. This can scale incredibly if you hit like Immolation from a Spectral Pack, or you just get like a trading card and destroy cards every turn, or just any way there is to destroy cards. It's really strong with Canio, and he takes a lot of deck fixing to make work, right? You have to keep generating more face cards to destroy, and you want to turn your cards into face cards, etc. But it scales like crazy. Overall, I think it's slightly worse than Yorick, in my opinion, because the investment that you need is a little higher, but it's not bad. Not even remotely bad. It's still incredibly strong, and you are very happy if you get a Canio from your, like, in any way. You're super, super happy getting this card. And then there's Triboulet. Triboulet? I don't know how to pronounce that. Triboulet gives ×2 molt when a king or queen is scored. Now, this is also relatively easy, of course, right? You still have to do deck fixing, get more kings and queens, and like it's not incredibly hard, and there's a lot of ways to make this even better, like cards like Jokers like Socket Buskin or Photograph or the Ballot, right, can make this pop off like crazy. The thing is that this is pretty good. You 2 × 2 × 2 × 2 × 2. 2 to the 5th. Yeah, that's what you do your molt. You 2 to the 5th your molt. And again, that's before you include retrigger cards. This is crazy. This is absurd. This is such a powerful card if you can get it going. I think scaling wise, this is the best of, or like, scaling wise and like getting to a super high number wise, this is probably the best of the legendary Jokers. It's probably the second or third easiest to activate fully, I guess, aside from Chico, which is no activation at all, but whatever. So I mean, it's not like the hardest, it's not the easiest or the hardest. I'd say it's just relatively, and it is, exponential. So it makes it scale like fucking crazy. I don't have more words to say about this. It goes ham. If you pick out Triboulet, you are so happy. Probably as happy as you are of getting Yorick. I think this is probably the second best one overall, in my opinion. I think it's like Yorick, Triboulet, and Canio are all really close, basically. But this is just so nice. The only downside to this is, right, of course, there's not every situation you can use it, right? It's hard, it's probably less flexible than Yorick, is what I want to say. Of course, Yorick is bad when you can't discard, but sometimes you just don't have kings or queens, right? By the time you pick it up, you're like, oh, I transformed those, or oh, they got immolated, or something like that, or I'm playing a deck that doesn't have any of them in them, right? But man, is this just a crazy card. I had this the other day. That's why I'm like harping on it so much. I had this the other day. I had Socket Buskin, I had Photograph. I had Ballot and Triboulet. I gotta say, it's probably one of my favorite runs I've ever had. It was so awesome. So true. Like, it's beautiful. I'm sorry. It's just beautiful. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today. I love Balatro. I want to appreciate it more. That's how I'm talking about the cards. I'm being more appreciative of the game that I have, because the game appreciates me more than a certain other game. And I enjoy that. I like that this game cares about user experience. It feels good to play the game, right? There's sometimes that games are fun but don't feel good to play, right? This game feels good. It's beautiful. You guys can follow me on my socials. They're right there, or they're down in the description. Join my Discord. We're talking about Balatro all the time. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.